Oh, did you hear that? If you struggle with lower back pain and sciatica, maybe you've got fibromyalgia, maybe you've got chronic pain, then this video is for you. I don't know about you, but when I wake up first thing in the morning, I'm typically quite stiff, mobility is difficult, and these are just some of the methods that I've mastered over the past 12 years. Disclaimer, I'm not a health professional, but this is my methods that I found that gets me to increase my mobility and ability to move more freely. This is just what I've learned. There are 7 main ones, so let's get started.
I pushed another way. Some days I can't, and my feelings, yeah, I'm dealing with it. I'm not bending.
Obviously I have more stuff. Don't let it intimidate you. I'm not saying go out and buy all these things. This is what I've accumulated over many years. Let's get started with just nothing to begin with. If you have a carpet, that is also good. It's just so it's a little bit softer. What I'm just trying to do is just open up my body a bit. When we sit at a desk all day, we've got a bit of a closed hinge forward. So the first thing we're going to do is just, you've got your 2 hands on the mat like that. Your legs are 90 degrees. So you're just going to push your bum up, push your head up as well, open up your back a bit, and then tuck your tailbone in to try and just hollow your back a bit, and just do a few of these. And remember to breathe. This one I typically do standing. The idea is that you put your hands on your bum. I'm just going to lean back. I want to feel it here going through the ITB a bit, and by holding my bum, I'm just supporting it a bit more. So that one I hold for about 10-15 seconds at a time. I do about 2 or 3 of those. It just opens up this part a bit more. If you want to open up your upper body a little bit, you reach out as far as you can, and then you just sit back. Make sure that you're gripping the mat a bit more at the front, because you want to get a nice lengthening stretch throughout your arms. And just hold it there for a little bit and breathe. And if you want to extend your stretch a bit, you can reach your hand over the other one. That'll just give you a little bit more of a deeper stretch. Remember to always do the other side as well. The last one I like to do, if you lie flat, I just push my shoulders and my chest off the mat. It just gets things a little bit more active. Everything right up until the hips. Try and lift that off the mat. One more. If you open up your hips, and the idea is just to go and sit down. Try and push your bum to your feet. That'll give you a really good stretch throughout your hips and your back. It's a really good one. The cats always love it when I'm stretching. The moment this mat comes out, I've always got some cats coming out to me. Even like this, doing this with my legs, it opens up the hips a bit more. Try and keeping my feet nice and closed. Have a good posture. I don't sit like this at a desk. Your body is supposed to go through full ranges of motions. That is with no gear. If you go to gym, they normally have these like a triangular thing that you can like stand on. A towel works just as well. This one helps with ankle mobility. It helps with knee pain. It helps to open up those hip flexors. Roll up the towel, the front of my foot's touching the mat, my ankle's slightly elevated, I have a nice 90 degree there, other leg, the knee is on the ground, and then I just push forward. Very deep stretch in the groin. I like to hold it for about 10 seconds. I normally like to do 3 to 5 of this one, just pulsing it a little bit. Gives me a nice stretch through the ITB, which is your quads and the hip flexor. It just opens up this area here a bit. I highly recommend a foam roller purely because it's super versatile. This is what I started with. It gets those like pressure points worked out. It's really good for fascia release as well. So let's start with the back. You want to roll from the mid back up to your shoulders. You want to have a nice tight core and just lift a little bit. I want to roll from there. Did you hear that? This is why I love the foam roller. Clicks aren't bad. The tension of the muscles are being worked out, and it like collects where the spine is, and then it just For the lower back, just want to tilt slightly to the side because I want to get that muscle that's right next to the spine. I use my arm at the back just to support a little bit, and I just stay right between the side of my body and the spine. This is great for my sciatica. If I get to a point where it feels nervy, I hold it there for a bit. And you should know, it feels kind of electric, it feels icy cold. That's normally how you know you're on. I mean, you'll know. It's really, really going to help. Remember to always do the other side as well. So from the mid back, on that muscle, just work it gently. I'll also do my hamstrings. You can start with both. Just really focus on getting right to the back of that knee. Just roll right up to where your glutes start. That'll give you a nice hamstring release. This will open up the top part of your back, your shoulders, your arms a bit. Keep your back straight. You can do a lot more with it, but those are the things that I do for my back pain. This is my next recommendation. None of these are endorsed, by the way. This is just my things that I use, but you can use a tennis ball as well. Any sort of rubber ball is pretty good. So this I use just to open up the hip a bit more. There's a nerve, if that's your hip bone, there's a nerve just to the outside of that. So it's right next to the hip bone. That's where I push this ball into. So this is the front. I want to get it just on the outside of that hip bone. Just roll and kind of, you'll feel where it feels a little bit uneasy. That's where you want to have it. The other way you'd also know if you do have this nerve pain is you'll have a very strange sensation on the front of your shin, the outer side of it, where it just typically feels numb, irritable, quite painful. This is the rollout to just release that little bit of tension. Do a slow release breath out. On to the next one. I recommend getting one of these. This just came with other ones I ordered, but you don't need this. You literally just need a ball with some spikes on it. If you use it on your feet, it'll loosen things up a bit. I normally do it on the inner side of my foot where the bridge is, and I just push my toes down a little bit to make sure that I get a nice curvature in the ball roll. Oh, did you hear that? Same on the other side. Just start lightly. Your tolerance will build up for this, and it's really worth it. I call this one pokey bed. I normally try and push myself more into it by lifting my legs up. 15 minutes is more than sufficient. This is really good for back pain and neck pain as well. After a few minutes, you'll start to feel warm and fuzzy. It starts to make you feel super relaxed. It's so nice. Back will be a little bit red. That means you've done it right. You can literally use a towel, but I have these, so I'll just show you how I use these. I put it around my foot as such. And then what I try and do is pull to force my foot to basically push back. What that does, it releases the sciatica pain that goes from my knee all the way through my foot. And the higher up I lift it, the more of a stretch I get. Keep your shoulders onto the mat. Try and keep your leg as straight as you can. This is if you can really tolerate this one. And then I lean it across. I just let it hang towards the opposite side. This is more of the uncomfortable stretches, but this is by far one of the most valuable ones when it comes to my sciatica. You don't want to release the nerve so much that you actually start to irritate it more. If you start to feel a bit of a stretch, you can feel it through where the nerve pain typically is. It starts to feel quite cold. Then when you start to bring it back and you relax your leg, if your leg feels a bit warmer, that means you've done it right. Rather do it more frequent, like every day, rather than once a week and trying to overdo it. The most important thing when you're stretching is focus on the things that makes you feel good. So easy movements, motion is lotion. What I'd like to just finish this video off with, because I recognize I pretty much showed you just a very brief overview of all the gear that I do use. That is for my specific pain. I've always been very much focused on diet, health, exercise, and what works for my body. But let me know if there's anything you'd like to know more of, or you want me to cover in more detail. Comment below and I'll be sure to make one for you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you aren't already. It really does help my channel grow. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.